G'day guys, welcome back to Supercoach with DR and welcome to the round 22 review. Look, I don't know how you went this week, but for the first time in a very, very long time, I copped a donut. Not only one donut, I actually copped a pair. So you wouldn't believe it. You know, it all started off with the news that the Seagull was out this week. Thought, damn it, that's all right. I can still covering. Trent Bianco's playing. We're all sweet. Then unfortunately news comes through. Tommy Stewart, the great man Tom Stewart, he's most likely out for the rest of the season. Ouch. There's a donut. Nothing I can do unless Madden or Briggs get up. Unfortunately, none of those fellas played. So I went in knowing that I was basically copping a donut. But then you get to the Sunday, late out. Stephen May, I've thought you are absolutely joking me. Didn't look at another match. Turned the scores off. And I thought, Supercoach gods, what have you done for me? So, long story short, I did cop the 2 donuts this week, but amazingly, and on the positive side, I still managed to keep my top 200 rank. I thought that would be completely out the window, 300 plus possibly, but only actually lost 2 spots in the rankings with a 23-26. So, at the end of the day, I'm still quite happy. There must have been some absolute carnage out there for me to still be able to do that. So, yeah, I can only imagine what some other poor people, particularly those that had, your Brayshaws, your Greens, and these blokes, really tough round for others. So, yeah, good luck if you ended up keeping on to supplementary trades and you've got a couple up your sleeve or had a couple up your sleeve and managed to use those to get yourself in a more powerful position heading into the next week, then, well done to you. There's not much you can say apart from that. I just had a few injuries I had to deal with. Probably, that sideways trade I keep on referring to during the buys. I was maybe a little bit too buy focused, but certainly went harder this year than I have basically any other year playing Supercoach. And I can go back maybe in my review video for 2021, I'll go back and take a look at my history for the final 2 rounds, and I'll be able to actually show you how many trades I still had in the bank. So traditionally, I always have at least one going into the grand final. Just completely different this year, but that'll be for another video anyway. But yeah, look, as I said, not too disappointed given the fact I'm still ranked in the top 200. 5 out of 10 prelims I won, so 50% strike rate there. Missed out on my cash league by about 38 points, my big cash league. And yeah, the guy didn't have any donuts. So 22 versus 20, and I missed by that much. So a little bit frustrating, but congratulations to everyone that did win their prelim finals and are into a couple of grannies. Yeah, you've obviously had a pretty solid year. So that's it for the intro. Let's take a look at how the side's actually going. Now, I'll make this pretty short and sweet. We'll start off with the defence, and I tell you what, absolute carnage this week. Only 4 blokes actually scored for me. That was Laird, Short, Whitfield, and Ridley. Laird with a 105, that's okay, but you want close to his season average, which was about a 115. Shorty with a 126. You watch him play on the weekends and you think, yes, this is why I selected this bloke at the start of the season, but he's just been too inconsistent. Those games have been too few and far between. But yep, really take that this week. Was a really important score for my side. Whitfield with an 81. He's been really underwhelming since I brought him in. Look, he saved me a couple of times with a couple of really nice scores, but apart from that, been pretty mediocre. He's missed a game as well. Just has not been the selection that I thought and I hoped that it'd be. But lesson learned, I highly doubt whether or not I'll start with him next season. Jordan Ridley, so he bounced back with a 108. Beautiful. Yeah, I'll take 105 plus from Ridley from here on out. Next week, particularly if I've still got a donut, then I'm relying on blokes like Ridley to go 125 plus for me. I think that's what I'll need if I do have another donut. I'll need some big scores in order to cover that. The Seagull obviously didn't play. For a bloke that's just so durable, used to him just playing each and every week, this was super disappointing, but I hope that he is back this week. I think that he is. Nothing's been confirmed, but I'm not overly concerned about Seagull at this stage. Now, Stephen Mayhill's a late out. I think it was general soreness. What does that actually mean? I'm not too sure. Hopefully, it's not a cover-up for something more sinister. I don't think that it is, and I also expect him to play. That's not based off anything. That's just maybe more hope than anything. I'm not too sure. So, yeah, if all things go well, I'll be able to have both May and Lloyd on field this week to avoid any donuts in my backline. Stewart, he's gone for the season now. I'm pretty sure that's confirmed. And Madden, I'll just have to hold on to hope that maybe he's a sub. He will not come back into the side. unless there's some major injuries during the week at training, and I hope that I have not jinxed anything there. But he's a dead rookie. I think Madden, he's been okay for me, done his job most weeks when required, I think, Jimmy Madden. Into the midfield, Mr. Reliable, Jack McRae, went back and had a look at the data. Shout out to Supercoach Data on Twitter. Make sure you follow him if you haven't, or if you aren't already doing that, for anyone that is on Twitter. But I was able to check out my captaincy scores for basically every round this season, and I think it's been 6 weeks in a row where I've taken this man's score either through the vice captain or the captain option there. So thank you very much, Jack McRae. Just a super selection. You can really rely on this guy every week to knock you out a decent captain score, and I think his floor is going to be around to 125. Well, we've only got one more week, don't we? I'm only talking for one more week here, but he's just been ultra reliable. You know, sometimes you haven't seen those massive 160s, 170s, but you're always pretty good for a 125 to a 140 type score each and every week from Jack McRae. So just a super selection. Just lock this bloke into your sides next year, and you'll be very, very happy, I think. Titch, again, a relatively good score, I think, 117, so 115 plus from him. Absolutely fantastic, still higher than his season average. So, mentioned a lot lately, after the bye, has not let me down. Absolutely fantastic, thanks Titch. Probably not good enough for a captaincy score though, so I'm glad I did go with McRae in that game. Clary, a 93, this is extremely disappointing. Look, I didn't think that he'd go another 200, but I thought a 140, certainly on the cards here, but yeah, just didn't deliver this week. So he's been a pretty solid selection though this year, Clary. Up there in the top 5, I think, for overall scorers in 2021. So at the end of the day, I'm still really happy with him as a selection. But you'd be really disappointed this week, particularly if you did trust him with the big captaincy tag. So yeah, disappointing if you're in that boat. But yeah, 93. When you cop Doughnut, you know, you want this to be a lot higher. But at least he played and I didn't cop one in the midfield. Walshy, 115. Yeah, I'll take it. Similar to Titch, I'll just bank a 115 from midfielder, unless it's Jack McRae. Zeret with a 107. Yeah, okay. If you look at these averages, so you look between Titch with 116, Walsh, what's that, 118. It's hard to see here, sorry. Zeret with 114. Pretty similar type picks. Walsh obviously being the most successful pick there, I think. Jelly, a 148. Now, this is really what you want after he misses a week. You think to yourself, yes, thank you, Supercoach Gods, for at least delivering this great score from Jelly. I know that he was traded out by some coaches last week who had a trade or two up their sleeve, but hopefully you traded in someone decent for him anyway. Trav Boak, 106. Look, if he can go 105 plus, pretty happy. Bit of a dud trade in. Yeah, never been happy with the Boak selection. And you notice that I've got Fife on field. That was to take advantage of Newcomb's emergency score. Now, what was really frustrating for me is that I just had no way to get Bianco's score in my back line, because the Doughnut that I had, all the non-playing players, it was Madden, who I can't loop in with, Stewart, May, and obviously the Seagull. The only bloke I had was Rory Laird. And what happened was, originally I had Laird in my midfield and I had Bianco in place of Laird here. But when Newcomb got that 94, and wasn't that fantastic, seeing him almost back to his debut best, just an absolute beast, really high tackle count, absolutely fantastic, really came through in a week that I needed him to come through. So thank you very much, John Newcomb. Thought he was a little bit dead as a rookie, to be quite honest. But yeah, what was good is the fact that I could make a couple of moves here. So instead of playing Bianco on field here and Fife, and Laird in this position here, I brought Laird back, put Bianco here, and then just put Fife in place of him to take advantage of of Newcomb's 94 there. So that was handy and ended up gaining me an extra 54 points. So yeah, really happy with that move, but not happy at the same time. I just couldn't get Bianco down there. There was nothing that I could do at the end of the day. So a little bit frustrating there. Saunders is at loop, obviously not playing. And then into the ruck, so Gawn, Grundy, 100, 89, absolutely mediocre. Don't think I'll be doing the same thing next year in regards to my rucks. Don't know what the structure is going to be. Discussion for another day, I think. And then the forwards, Aaron Hall, my man. Just love this bloke. He just has not let me down. I won't repeat myself again, but 127, I take my hat off to you. Aaron, thank you very, very much, mate, for what you've produced for me this season. Rowan Marshall, extremely disappointing. I'd been getting used to 125 pluses from Rowan, so I'm not too sure what happened here, but a 73, very, very underwhelming for Rowan. I didn't think that I'd see him go under three figures for the rest of the year, so hopefully it was just a bit of a down week. We know that St Kilda haven't got a heap to play for now, just pride, but hopefully he's a proud man and he'll put his best foot forward in our Supercoach Grand Finals. Dangerfield, wow, what a last quarter from this man. So while you had Jack Steele, and I'll tell you what, I didn't even mention Jack Steele. It was the 1 week, since I can remember that I was actually happy that I didn't own this man. And at half time, we were thinking, geez, is it going to be a 200? Possibly. I just put my hands over my face, covered my eyes, couldn't look at anything, and then was just super surprised to see him basically score nothing in the second half. So absolutely wild. But the reason why I brought up Steele was that if you compare the last quarters of Steele and Dangerfield, well, Dangerfield just absolutely smashed it. Massive contested mark and a goal at a really crucial time in the match. His contested possession count was above 20. Just a super game from him. An absolute superstar when he's on, Paddy Dangerfield. So 169 after a 21 last week. Yeah, all these things tend to balance out. So you'd have been absolutely loving life if you didn't own him last week. But this week, if you didn't own him, you'd be kicking yourself a little bit. So thanks for bouncing back, Danger. Hopefully a big week this week. Nothing to worry about in regards to that report incident. Just he got pushed into the contest. Nothing to worry about. Dane Zorko. So I did mention a couple of weeks ago that this man is our barometer. When Zorko's on, the whole team seems to be on. He really does set the standard for that pressure, provides that energy. And again, he's backed up his really big performance last week where he went around a 140. So 117 isn't the biggest score in the world, but when you compare it to some of the other players this week, yeah, not too bad, particularly some of those underwhelming ones like your Bokes that I've got, even a Zach Merritt this week. So, yeah, very happy with Dane Zorko, and I'm expecting another massive week from him this week. He's just on at the moment, and, yeah, things are looking good for the great magician. Jordan De Goey, again, a 119. Pretty much, I think, Collingwood's best player. Can hold his head high, I think, to go, particularly over the last couple of months where he's been played in that midfield role. He's really shined, I think, in that position, and I'm expecting that that's where he'll be played going forward. The trouble for him is the fact that he can be really damaging up forward as well. But what I'm really pleased about for De Goey himself anyway is that I think this is, arguably, in my opinion, the most consistent stretch of football that I've seen him play. I think that's just personal opinion anyway. People may have a different view on that, but yeah, things just seem to be clicking for him at the moment. And I think it's due to be given responsibility in that midfield role. So wrap with that, hoping for another big week from him next week. And Zeeble, I think he's got a calf issue. Does he play this week? I'm not too sure. I haven't checked out the news on Zeeble, but yeah, I hope that he does. If not, I'm probably copying another donut. I'm not too sure at this stage. We'll just have to see what happens. But yeah, things aren't looking good if that's the case with Zeeble. But he's just been a wonderful starting selection for me this year, and most teams, I think. Yeah, can't complain whatsoever from what he's produced this year, Big Jack. And Poulter and Brixie didn't play. So yeah, look, I really did keep on to Poulter, particularly during those bye rounds, because I thought that he'd be the ideal cover. I thought that he'd be the number one option for cover on any line going into the back half of the season, but that just hasn't proved to be the case. You've had players like Bramble who really stepped up to the plate. Even Tommy Highmore, I know he didn't play last week, but in other weeks previous, he's given us some 90s to 100 type scores. So yeah, that was just a bad call and a bad prediction on my behalf. I think it was actually when Harvey started taking over that Poulter started losing games. I don't know if that was just a coincidence or maybe didn't rate him as much as Buckley did. I'm not too sure there, but yeah, that's really hurt me, that Poulter selection, unfortunately. But yeah, apart from that, that is the team. No trades, obviously, so not much I can do this week apart from ask the Supercoach gods very nicely to please look after this side. Give me at least Main Seagull back, and possibly come on a Poulter, a Briggs maybe. Just do something for me, please. I'd really appreciate it. But apart from that, guys, thank you very much. Now, I think that's one thing I forgot to do. A big thank you as well to two absolute legends. Thank you to Spills for your very generous donation, mate. You know it's going to go towards a really great cause for the cancel there. And also, as well, Mate, thank you very, very much to the Magic Gnome as well, Remy. I really do appreciate that, mate. It does mean a lot. It was a very, very generous donation from you as well, and I appreciate everything, mate, that you've done, not only with your donation, but even comments on the channel and your great friendship over the last 12 months particularly, mate. So thank you very much, guys. I really, really do appreciate it. I'll make sure I give a shout out in the yearly review video as well. So apart from that, guys, take care. Good luck to everyone that is involved in a grand final this week. And remember, I will be putting out a stock market video this week, the grand final edition. So stay tuned for that in the next day or two. Good on you guys. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, bye.